Hey YouTubers, Jeff McCaffrey here, and today I'm explaining the cash conversion cycle on a systems thinking software called Plectica, and then showing how it calculates on a spreadsheet. The cash conversion cycle is a ratio that measures the number of days it takes for an entity to convert the investment into inventory back into cash. This is an easy way to assess a business's liquidity using the key elements of inventory, receivables, and payables. The cash conversion cycle time is a formula of days inventory outstanding plus days sales outstanding minus days payables outstanding. That equals a cash conversion cycle time in days. The smaller number of days in a cash conversion cycle, the more access to cash you have, meaning cash is not invested any longer than it needs to be. Days inventory outstanding is a measurement of inventory movement and inventory investment, providing visibility that there is no more inventory investment than needed. This calculation is average inventory divided by cost of goods sold per day. Days sales outstanding is a measurement of both sales volume and accounts receivable amounts in order to understand how much and how long cash is being invested. This calculation is average accounts receivable divided by revenue per day. Days payables outstanding is a measurement of how much and how long money is owed to lenders or vendors in order to minimize how much cash is invested at any given time. This calculation is average accounts payable divided by cost of goods sold per day. So the calculation is, again, days inventory outstanding plus days sales outstanding minus days payables outstanding equals the cash conversion cycle time in days. Within each one of these areas, there's ways to influence positive change. In days inventory outstanding, the intention is to either decrease average inventory or decrease the amount of cash you have invested in inventory when and wherever possible without causing stockouts or decreasing sales volume. You can turn inventory faster. You can spend less on inventory, meaning cheaper prices on the products or services. Liquidate the inventory. Have more frequent purchases with less volume, meaning just in time, stuff like that, or consignment inventory. All these things influence the decrease of days inventory outstanding. Ways to influence days sales outstanding. The intention is to have a small accounts receivable and as little cash invested as possible without decreasing sales volume. You can ensure all collections are on time or early. You can collect money prior to execution or increase sales. That all influences days sales outstanding to decrease. Days payables outstanding. The intention is to extend the use of borrowed cash as long as possible without paying interest or sacrificing margin percent. You can, again, use consignment inventory whenever possible. You can negotiate longer terms or sell and collect prior to paying your invoices. Here's an example on a spreadsheet of exactly how to calculate the cash conversion cycle, or the cash conversion cycle. Days inventory outstanding. You have average inventory, which is the beginning divided, the beginning and ending added and then divided by 2. That's just one way of doing it. If you're on a spreadsheet with all the months, you can just obviously use the average formula, average function. Average inventory divided by cost of goods sold per day. Now this is important because first off, the average inventory comes off your balance sheet. The cost of goods sold comes off of the P&L. This is the total number of cost of goods sold for the 365 days. Very important to understand this. So in this regard, it's average inventory divided by cost of goods sold per day. That's 41 days. Accounts receivable, you have the same thing. Beginning and ending balance, an average divided by revenue per day, which is that amount of revenue of 365 days. That's 5 days. Days payable outstanding is beginning and ending payables. You have an average payable divided by cost of goods sold per day. That equals 11 days. And remember, let me just show you. This calculation is days inventory outstanding plus days sales outstanding minus days payables outstanding, because you're trying to increase payables, decrease AR, and decrease inventory. So in this scenario with these numbers, $42 million that year with a 33% gross margin percent, and these averages of inventory and receivables and payables, this model is turning the cash at 35 days. Now let's look at another one. What happens if you were to decrease inventory a little bit from the last and say knock $1 million off of it and turn it to 28 days? Well, then you'd have an overall cash cycle time of 22 days, all things being equal. Then decrease accounts receivable along with that to 3 days, and you have a 20 days cash conversion cycle. Then if you optimize across the board and take accounts payable up to $1 million from $800,000 really or roughly, then you have an 18-day cash conversion cycle. Now keep in mind, if you're looking to see a difference on this every quarter or every month, go ahead and calculate everything rolling back 365 days. It doesn't have to be a fiscal year. Now, what happens if you were to really knock down inventory and make things optimal across the board? Then yes, you can turn that number negative. The most ideal situation is when you can order everything in your business, receive it, execute, collect from the client, and then pay all your invoices. So there you have it. That's the cash conversion cycle. If you have any questions, leave comments below. Hit the like button. Thanks again.